As far as payment domain perspective, from business analyst point of view, uh, being a business analyst when we are transforming our career into the payments domain, what kind of skill sets that we must be knowledgeable with, or what kind of skill sets that we must be good with. This is something which many people uh, have some doubts. So, in regard to that, so being into the payment domain perspective as a business analyst, of course, we discussed many things relating to cross-border payments. We discussed about SWIFT processing, SEPA, ISO 200 able to MTMX transactions, all that in the previous sessions, right? So there are a couple of videos in regard to that were there. I will give those in the description below, some of the video links so that you guys can go through it. And today I'm going to discuss about what are the key skill sets. There are some few I was mentioned, so there can be other, depends on the professional expertise from the industry perspective, company to company, there may be some variation. But these are the key skill sets, but when being a business analyst from the payment domain, we must be good with. So from the domain and knowledge area, the first one about the payment ecosystem understanding is one of the key and important thing one should be, right? So because as in when we are working as a payments domain business analyst, so first of all, we must be understanding about the payment ecosystem. Either it can be domestic, national, international payments. Okay, this is all something that we do. So because these RTGS or at the same time NEFT, right? So these are the old traditional payment processing systems that we are using, right? So RTGS stands for real-time gross settlements. NEFT, right? So NEFT, right? So these are the general banking transfers that we do from a very long time. So that is point number one. Second, about the card payments. Card payments, either it can be of any network. Normally, there are three to four networks, I can say. One is about the Visa network cards you can see, Mastercards we can see. At the same time, we can see American Express cards, followed by this even RuPay cards nowadays are using. Okay, so card networks, right? So different cards we use, irrespective of the kind of banks that we have an account or an individual has an account. But whereas when you see the difference between RuPay, Visa, Mastercard versus American Express, American Express have a network. It has an American Express card itself. But whereas RuPay, Visa, Mastercard, maybe irrespective of the kind of bank that we have an account, so there is a card you see. It's a card network, right? So through this card network, the payment processes, everything will be taken place. So understanding over the card payments is also one of the key and important understanding. Being a business analyst, we must be good enough. Next one about the ACH part, which is called auto clearing houses. Normally, for the large volume of transactions, large amount of transactions when we do, which is called clearing houses through clearing house. As an example, if I want to make it very clear and simple, every month we get salaries, right? So huge amount of volume of transactions will be managed by the organization on a particular date, particular time, we get the salary. Or else, for example, government is providing any benefits to any beneficiaries, right? So they are paying any benefits to them, right? So on large volume, usually it is for the large volume who are beneficiaries for them, maybe monthly. So some benefits will be transferred to their accounts. This is all happens through ACH, which is called auto clearing houses. Third party companies who manage all these ACH, this is it. And wire transfers, which is a common thing, which normally all the transactions we do all that. Next one about SEPA, which is a European this thing, right? So SEPA network, right? So European countries form and created a SEPA network. So to make the ease of using their business within their this thing, through euro currency, the transactions, business transactions within the countries can be done easily. So for that, they created a SEPA network. So European network. So that understanding is needed because some people may ask, you have to some knowledge over the card payment. Some people may have some knowledge over Swift processing, SEPA, right? So it can be, but as a learner, when we are learning payments domain, so these kind of things are essentially required and we must be good with. So SEPA. Next one about Swift processing, because whatever through some messaging system, right? So we transfer the amounts, cross-border payments from one account to another account. We can do it. Okay, this is all about Swift processing, and many even large volume of even business transactions can also happen through Swift. RTGS, which is I already mentioned. Next, like this FPS, UPI payments, anyway known to everyone. Whatever the valid payments that we do and all, everything part of UPI payments. So understanding about payments ecosystem is one of the key and important thing. Being a business analyst, we must be good with. Next, banking and financial technology knowledge is also important because end of the day, payments relating to financial transactions, which maybe in institutions, financial institutions or banks normally do, so that we must be having some banking process understanding from the payment perspective, not the other end. Okay, from the payment perspective, we must be having some understanding. At the same time, mobile wallets are open banking. At the same time, PSD2, ISO 20022 standards that we use. This financial and banking technical knowledge is also an additional. If a person having this knowledge, okay, this can be ignorable, but otherwise, some understanding over these knowledge are also highly recommendable, highly important. Next, understanding the regulatory compliances, because rules and regulations from country to country, from as far as the payment transactions are concerned, may vary, right? So because there are a lot of rules, laws are there, right? So in order to avoid any fraudulent activities or any kind of fraudulent transactions and all, to control over that, right? So to control over that, there are a lot of regulatory compliance standards, procedures. Country to country may have some slight differences. So knowing about your customer, right? So one of the key important thing, knowing about your customer, a person who is receiving or sending the payments. We must be knowing about who the customer are, right? So you must be knowing about them. Next, you have anti-money laundering, which is all about AML, knowing about that, right? So at the same time, NACHA rules, at the same time, GDPR. So regulatory compliance understanding is also one of the key and important skill set. Being a payment domain learner, we must be good with. Next, emerging technology, the one which I mentioned you. Real-time payments, of course, anyway, real-time payment processings and all everything. Now what happening is blockchain technology, at the same time, even artificial intelligence. Because artificial intelligence depends on the kind of pattern, and with machine learning, depends on the kind of patterns that we see. We write the algorithm, so that system will automatically take a decision and it implements accordingly without any human intervention. Right, so that's how generally the AI technologies, blockchain, at the same time BNPL, you know that, right? So buy now, pay later, right? So you can buy now and you can pay later in few days, depends on the credit history what we have for that. Cross-border settlement platforms, different cross-border settlement platforms, organization to bank they use this. So these kind of skill sets are always required for any business analyst apart from BA learning, because as a BA, whatever the knowledge areas are needed, that's important, right? So knowing about understanding the business goals, objective, needs, scope, at the same time knowing about how to manage your requirements, how to trace, manage your requirements, prioritization of requirements, changes in requirements, verifying and validating the requirements, and how you are converting the business problem into a solution, from there into a technical solution. Doing some gap analysis, feasibility study, BRDs, functional requirements, epics, user stories, use cases, test cases. This is all something as a BA you must be good with. Person having some knowledge over BA is absolutely fine. So they can learn BA domain payment domain knowledge they can acquire. Or else a person doesn't have any BA knowledge should learn from the basics. Always advisable, because only alone learning payments domain as a business analyst, if you're applying as a role of a BA, it's not advisable. You need to have BA skills as well, apart from the domain knowledge. Then only it will have the validity. That will have a value, a real value for your resume and profile. This is what about, right? So there are a couple of training sessions which I have taken earlier. Of course, I have posted many of my videos relating to payments in earlier days. Yeah, in earlier, I have posted already. A few of the session videos I posted in the description link below to that, so that you can watch it. Okay, right.